Hello. Okay. Hello. Hi, Divya. Welcome to the stream. Okay. So, hello, everyone. Hope you can hear me and hope you can see me as well. Okay. Just doing some basic tests. Okay. Fine. So, let's go. So, today this is kind of a midnight stream and we are on part 8. Okay. So, we have covered 7 parts so far. Where is my Yeah, so we have covered these many parts. I'll just do a quick recap of what we did so far. Module 1, we did the backend project setup. Module 2, we did the REST endpoints for task creation, still in Spring Boot. And Module 3, Spring Boots, we wrote JUnits and global error handling and validation. And we are currently at Module 4, front end. We did this much so far. We were able to add a task using a title and description. And we'll be continuing this. Okay, so some housekeeping stuff. The people who are watching on the YouTube vertical YouTube video, you can go to the channel and find the full screen video as well. It's also going live in the same time. I forgot to paste the link there. Okay, the YouTube link, the GitHub link of this project is available in the video descriptions. Okay, and the playlist also of the last 6 parts or 7 parts is also there. Okay, and we also have other courses in the channel. You can watch it as well. So if you go to the courses tab in the YouTube channel, you will see there is we did a course for Java streams and for multi-threading also. Okay, they were all like problem based learning. We did some problems in multi-threading and streams respectively, and we learned them. Okay, fine. So good news, we just crossed 651 subscribers. When I started the stream, I noticed that we crossed 651 subscribers. So that was the goal for this week, which we completed successfully. So thanks to all and kudos to all. We will be targeting at the 700 subscriber goal. Okay, so that's what I put in the vertical video. You guys who are on vertical video can see it. In the full screen video, maybe during the break time you can see it. Okay. Fine. Okay then. So let's start. So let's see what we'll do today. Okay. So yesterday we so this is a full, this is a mock-up of the web page that we're designing, the application that we're designing, the to-do application, right? So yesterday we covered this much. How do I show it? Okay, so we covered this much yesterday, this top part, and today we'll cover the bottom part, right? For showing existing tasks. So yesterday we made this thing with the title and the project title, and then the task, an input box for the task title, priority and description, and a button. Okay, so this is what we created yesterday in part 7. Today we'll be creating part 8 with showing the existing tasks. Okay, fine. So as you can see here, how we'll be doing it is there will be a text that says your tasks, to show that these are existing tasks, and then there will be small kind of like divs or cards where it will show each task one by one, and then in that the task title will be there, the task description below it, and on the right side, top right of each card, we'll have a button. We'll have a button which say you can, it will be the action button. No? You can mark it as done, or if the task hasn't started yet, you can mark it to in progress, or if the task is done by mistake, you mark this as done, then you can restart the task. Things like that you can do. Okay, and here it will say the task status, like in progress or to do or whatever the status is. Okay, and the bottom right of each card or each div, we will have a delete button if you want to delete the task. Okay, so let's do it. Fine. Yeah, let's start. So first thing, how I will start is we will create a dummy div we will create one div, a dummy div, and just hard code all these values like task title, task description, and all. Okay, and then we will fetch the data from the backend and we will display it. Okay, so that will be like the second part we will do, because designing this itself will take some time. So after designing it, we will actually inject actual original data into it, the payload into it. Okay, fine. So let's do that. Just let me check if the vertical video is live. Yeah, it is. Okay, fine. So this row, right? Where is this row? So this row was the one which had all of this, the title, the priority, the input fields. Okay, we'll call it input fields. So I'll create one more row to show the, the existing data. Okay, so I'll write a comment here so that people know what is what. Existing data tasks below. Okay, ChatGPT Copilot, GitHub Copilot is on. Let me turn it off. Otherwise, it will keep disturbing me when I'm writing. Okay, snooze. Okay, I'll snooze it for like 2 hours or something. Fine. Okay. Let me zoom back in. And in here, in the first row, what is the first item? This title, right? It says your tasks. This will be the first item. So let me add that. So inside row, there should be a column. Okay. And inside column, I'll add one more row. Okay. Or no, I'll just use this column as it is. Okay. And here I'll put title and I'll say your tasks. If I save, you see it came here, your task, but that is too large. So let me check what I put for the bigger title, right? So I put level 3 for the bigger title. So I will use level 4, which is like even smaller. So as the number increases, it will be smaller. So level 4 for the smaller title. Okay. If I save it, you see it, oops. You see it became like a small title. This is what we want here, your tasks. Okay, fine. And this whole item, right, I'll put it inside a border. So you see here it's inside like a border container. Fine, just to make it look like a different section. Okay, so I'll do style equals to border. Okay, and I'll say solid 1px. Okay, I think you can write color also here. Fine, yeah, you got the border. Fine, it's very ugly. Let's make it rounded also. Okay, so let's add border, comma, border radius. Okay, I'll make it like what, 10px. Okay, so it kind of looks like a curved border instead of like a strong border. Okay, and I see that this your task is very lower than the top. Okay, those things we'll take care of it, take care of them later. Okay, so let's keep designing first the stuff that we need, and then we'll make it neater later. Okay, fine. So I have one row inside which, okay, so what I did now is this one row represents the whole item, but I don't want it like that. Okay, so inside this one row, I want the first item to be another row again. So it's like a nested row, and this other items to be like separate rows. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll wrap this column inside another row. Okay, row. Oops. So all rows should be inside columns. Sorry. So all, what do you say? Inside a row, it should directly be a column. Okay, so you can't you shouldn't nest a row inside a row. Okay, so if I put another column, and inside that I put a row. Okay, when I keep going down, you'll understand what is going on here. Okay, so I said first column should have another nested row, which will have the first item. Okay, so after this, what I'll do, I'll add one more row. Okay, and here I'll put the next item that I want, which is like this smaller item, right? So for this, I will add one more column. Okay, and okay, this is kind of becoming cumbersome, so what I'll do, okay, so this row is the full outside border. Inside that there will be one column. Okay, and that column will span the full width. Okay, and inside that I'll add the first row as the title and then the second row, right? Correct. So inside the second row I again need rows. Okay, so it becomes again row nesting. Okay, so inside this column I'll add one more row, and inside that I'll have a column which says task title. Okay, task title. Okay, and then inside that the next column will say task status, then there will be a mark as done. Okay, so row, oops, not row, column. Okay, column, and it says task status. Okay, and then there will be a button inside a row, I mean inside a column, saying mark as done. Okay, mark as done. Fine. So 3 items came together. Okay, so this actually is a nested row again, right? So for that what I'll do is that whole nested row I will add the same border thingy for that also. Yeah, this one. Okay, so see, inside this row there is another nested row, so that's how it is. Fine. So inside that there should be one more row. Okay, so there are multiple rows here. Okay, in that the first column, I mean there is only one column there which has the description. Oh, there are two columns. This first column is the description and the second column is the delete button. Okay, so task description, oops, description, and there will be one more column which will have the delete button. Okay, for now I'll just do button. Actually we should have a icon button. Okay, delete task. Fine. Okay, so we have kind of a very basic very basic design here. Okay, so we will slowly improve it. Fine. So how do we improve it? The first thing is the title is like span to the left, but these two items, right, the status and mark as done, are span to the right. Similarly, the description is span to the left, while as the delete button is spanned to the right. Okay, so we need to change that. So to change that, the grids itself give us like a simple justification called as space between. Okay, I'll show that. Where is space between? In here, I mean, I am under the anti-design website. For those who didn't join yesterday, I am inside the anti-design website, and there is this components overview, right? So inside that, inside layout, there will be a section called grid. Okay, inside grid, space bit. Okay, I should put hyphen probably, right? Okay, so you see, actually, where is space between? Align left, align center, align right, and then there is monospaced arrangement. Right, so this is what I want, monospaced arrangement. So the leftmost item should be sticking to the left and the rightmost item should be sticking to the right. Okay, so if there are multiple items, it will be spread across like that automatically. Okay, so this monospaced arrangement, let me look the code for it. So if you see, scroll down, yeah, so you see the monospaced element, it's justifies a space between, right? So I'll copy this, and if I come here inside my this row, I need that space between. Okay, and similarly inside this row also I need that space between. Okay, so they are kind of having space between. So if I make it bigger, probably you'll see. Okay, so there is one more issue here. The rows didn't span to the full area, right? So if you remember yesterday we had to set flux equal to 1 for those things. So let me do that. Flux equal to 1. Okay, so once I set that columns flex equal to 1, it will actually span to fill all area. Okay, so now you see it kind of did what I wanted. Okay, so you see let me go to the diagram. So task title is on the left, mark as done is on the right? Mark as done is on the right, task title is on the left. But the task status came to the center. So how do we fix this? So the fix for this is we have to define these two inside one column. Then that will be fixed automatically. Okay, so let me do that. So currently if you see, this is a separate column, this is a separate column. So each column is spanned across the given area. So it became like 3 separate columns. Instead what I should make it is this second column, right? I mean like this second area should be marked as one column. Then it will just split into 2 columns and put one on the left and put one on the right. Okay, so I'll show that if I group it will become correct. Okay, so I'll cut this and I'll make a call here, column, single column. Inside that what I'll do is I'll again start a row. Okay, and inside that I'll put these 2 columns. Fine. So you see they 2 stuck together on the right side. Okay, so that is what I wanted. Fine. Okay, so the alignment is done. Next what I see is this button is kind of on the bottom, but the task status is kind of sticking to the top, right? So to fix that, there will be like an alignment thing in grid. Okay, let's see where that is. So okay, so if you see here, everything is sticking to the top, align top. Okay, and if I put align middle, then you see the columns are all sticking to the center of the axis, right? So how do I do that? If I go here, there will be align middle, right? So what it is saying is justify space around. This is not what we want. We need this align middle. Okay, so let me copy this, and if I go here, I put justify space between, that is what I wanted, and then I'll say align middle. Okay, so task title came down. You see task title, let me undo that and show it again. So you see let me refresh. Okay, so you see task title went up now. Okay, so as soon as I add align equal to middle, okay, as soon as I add align equal to middle, and if I click save, you see task title went down. Okay, so task title is now aligned to the center of the axis, but this task status is still not. Why? Because that is in a separate row. So there also I have to put the same align equal to middle, and if I save, you see that also came down, because see this is a separate row, this was a separate row. Okay, so now here everything is aligned middle properly. For task description, let me see. Yeah, for task description, we will leave the stuff as it is, because oh, actually the delete button should come to the bottom, right? Okay, when it comes to that, we'll see what to do with it. Okay, now what I'll do next is I'll give some margin to all this, because all of these items are like sticking to the border, right? So here also it is sticking to the border. So I'll give some margin to each item. So what I'll do, yesterday we gave some margin, right? Where is that? This one. We gave like style equal to margin 2 pixels, right? So let's do the same thing here also to all the columns. So first column is this one, the title column. Let's give some margin to it. Okay, so you see it has a small gap now. Okay, the next one is this column, the tasks title itself. Okay, so that got a small gap now. And then the task status, okay, got a small gap. The button, okay, got a small gap. The gap is not large enough, so should we make it 4x? Okay, let's see. Justify, yeah, here task description, and for the button also we'll give for 2px. Okay, so it's kind of okay, but not the best. Okay, we'll do one more thing. We will put a margin to the whole item itself, right? So if you see, one task itself is a whole box, right? So we'll put that also. So this is that, So okay, so margin actually adds inside, so we should kind of add it outside. So I think you have to do padding. No, that did nothing. So I think you have to add it to this row itself. Yeah, so let me try here. Margin 2px. Yeah, okay, so I'll make it a little more bigger, 4px. Fine. So you see this row is now looking like a separate row inside the bigger container. Okay. Okay. And now let's see why this your task is taking so much space. I think it's because titles by default has a huge margin. So I'll set the style margin and I'll set 0px. Yeah. Okay. So you see now the title stuck to the top. So I don't want it to literally stick to the top. So instead, I'll give it 2px. Okay. Fine. Okay. So this kind of looks neater than how it was before, at least. Okay. So if needed, we will fix it later. Okay. And you see it is automatically responsive as well. So you see as I am stretching it, it fits to the given viewport or like the given container. Okay. Fine. What next? Next thing what we will do is, there are going to be multiple tasks. Okay. So when we are getting those many tasks, we should be actually displaying them also in multiple rows, right? So when we are going to do that, I can't just copy paste this row every time, right? I can't just copy paste this content every time. So for that only, we have functional components. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll copy this, cut this whole div, right? Which shows the, not this whole div, wherever the data is. Where's the data? From here. Okay, so this whole row information which has like the task title and the task status and all, right? I'll cut it and I'll put it to a separate file. Okay, and then I'll run a for loop for each task and then render it as separate items. Okay, so I'll show that. So I'll cut this from here. Okay, and I'll go here. And usually for separate components, we create a folder inside SRC. Inside SRC we create a folder called components. Okay, components, and inside that we put our components. Okay, so I'll just create a file here called task item dot or like task item row dot tsx. Okay, TypeScript. Fine. So inside this, let me make this smaller and get rid of it. I'll export this functional component. Okay, so I'll just write a functional component called export default function task item row. Okay, and what is happening here? Okay, so I'll just do like explain const function. I forgot the syntax once. Function, and then const. Okay, fine. This syntax works. So you define a constant called task item row and say that it's a function. Okay, so inside this I'll say return. Okay, and I'll return, let's say for now I just return hello. Okay, just the text hello. I come back here and I'll import that functional component called, what is that, task item row. Okay, if I say now, you save now, you see just says hello because that got read from here, this hello. Okay, so instead what I should do, I'll return that whole content that we wrote, right, with the row and stuff like that. So I'll save that, but these things are not imported, so let me import them. I'll import row, column, button, and I think that's it. So if I save this now, So you see, we got back the items. Okay, so let's say I copy paste this one more time. Okay, so I put like 2 task item rows here. Okay, and if I save this, you see 2 items came here. So I can do like multiple times and I'll get those many tasks. Okay, still this is not what we are going to do. I'm just showing. Okay, we'll be actually running a for loop to print each item. Okay, fine. So I saved it. I go back. Now let's fix this. Let me zoom out a bit. Okay, so here what we need to do next. So this task title, task status, all this stuff are there, right? It should come from the DB. Okay, now when things come from the DB, they come in a specific structure, right? So I'll show that. So things come like this, with ID, title, description, priority, due date, and all of this content, right? So we have to pick those items and then show it in the task. Okay, so let me first do one thing. We need to define the schema of the schema, as in like the structure of the item that is coming from the DB. Okay, so for that, what we call here is, it's called types. Okay, so I'll inside my src, I'll create a new file called types.ts. okay, and then I'll define the structure of the data that is going to come from the database. Okay, so export type. Okay, and then let's call it this, right? Okay, so let's take the help of backend here. Okay, so in backend, what do we call that? I think we call it just the task entity, right? Yeah, so, or I think it's the task DTO, right? So if I go to task controller and do like get all tasks, where is it? So yeah, this is the get all tasks, right? So what does it return? It returns the task DTO. Okay, so I'll open this and this is what we get returned, right? So I'll use the same name nomenclature here, the name here. Okay, so task DTO. Okay, fine. Now inside the task DTO, what I'll do is, what are the items here? So there is an ID. Okay, ID, and which is a number. Okay, so I'll just say ID number. Okay, I think I made a syntax error. What is it? Oh, it's equal to. Okay, so I should start with equal to and say that this is how it is going to look like. Okay, so I have a number. What else do I have? Okay, let me copy all of this. Fine, and I'll paste it here. Okay, word wrap. Okay, so I have a number, then I have a title which is going to be a string. Okay, then I have a description which is also going to be string. Then I have status, which is also a string. I think there is no other string. There is no other numerical data here. Everything else is going to be string. Okay, so I'll just copy paste this. Paste, created at, it will be also be a string. So although it is timestamp, JavaScript considers it as a string. Okay, so this is totally a TypeScript thing. We just define the schema, or like the data structure of what our task is going to look like. Okay, fine. So now here, if we go, we have to say, we have to actually pass a sample data. Okay, so for now I'll define a sample data on the top. Okay, so we'll do it step by step. So I'll define a sample data here called sample to do task data. Okay, and I will copy paste this JSON as it is. Okay, and I will say the whole point of defining the schema was to, or like the type was to mark this as that. Okay, so I'll say that this is going to be a task item. Why is it not coming? Oh, sorry, it's a task DTO. Okay, it's task DTO. Okay, so I just said to JavaScript that this sample to do task data is going to be of type task DTO. Okay, this is like define a variable of type. That is the whole point of TypeScript. In JavaScript there are no types, strong typing usually, But when you come to TypeScript, you have to actually say what type stuff are going to be, okay? And you see it's immediately showing error also. So why it is? Because by default due date you cannot set as null. That is what I said here also in my DTO, okay? So I said that due date should be a string, but what happened there, I'm setting it as a null value, right? So it's showing error. So for now I'll mark it as null, okay? String or null, it can be either null or be string, okay? And I'll mark a to do here saying due date might be mandatory later on, okay? If you want to make it mandatory later on, then I'll just remove this null part so that always due date will have a value, okay? This types is not needed anymore. I'll just close it, okay? Fine. So in here, now what we'll do is this sample task. So what I'm trying to achieve here is I'm trying to mock the values first, okay? Then we will do the actual fetching from the DB and showing, okay? So I'll pass this value here to my row. Where's my row? Here. So to the task item row, I'll pass task equal to and pass this value, okay? So I pass this and you see it's saying an error saying that, where is it? Saying that type task of to do is not assignable to type blah 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 something. So what it means is that inside task item row I am not getting that value. From here I'm sending that value, but task item row is not receiving that value, okay? So for that what we need to do is inside task item row I have to say task, okay? The task is coming in, I have to say that, and then I have to give it a type. So task, I don't think it's like this. You have to do task as, or is it like this? I don't know the syntax for this. Just a minute, let me see that. How to receive a prop drill down value in type script. And I'll give this code, okay, so that it will understand what I'm trying to do. Okay, so you see here I used a word called prop drill down. Okay, so what it means is, I'll explain it while ChatGPT generates the answer. So prop drill down means I am passing this property of to do task from my parent element app.tsx into the child element, which is task item row. Okay, so this is called as props drill down in React.js. Okay, so this is one of the way you can pass properties between components. It's called as drilling down props. Okay, fine. So they are saying that it should be like this. Okay. So it's just put a colon and say task DTO. Okay. Okay. Fine. So now it's showing an error saying that it is not being used anywhere. Okay. So that is the only problem. So let me use it. Okay. So now it's going to be very neat. Okay. So task I got, right, and it's of type task DTO. In task title, I'll just say task dot title. Okay, if I save it, you see here immediately the title reflected study React.js, which is the sample title that I had in here. Where is it? In here I had the title, right, study React.js. It came down, so we drilled down the prop. Fine. Now why is this showing error? Okay, this is not supposed to show error. Okay, let's see. Shows error. It usually means doesn't match the expected type DTO. Okay, I did that right. Oh. Okay, they're saying to define my component like this, saying the task is of type task DTO and then do this. Just making sure that I wrote everything correctly. Okay, I think I'm supposed to define this also and say that this is going to be of this type. Okay, that is weird, but okay. So let's do that. Oh, and that fixed it. Okay, I don't know why that two-step thing is needed, but apparently that is the syntax. So you should define a row property for this task item row, saying that task item row takes in a task object of type task DTO. Let me see if this can be written in even simpler. Can't this be written simpler without defining an extra task item row props? Yeah. Oh, okay. They're just saying to do this, which is what I was trying initially, but did a syntax error. Okay. So this looks easier, right? So I'll just write that. Okay, and I'll remove this stuff. Okay, so I am getting a task object and I'm saying that the task object is of type task DTO in the prop drill. Okay, so apparently this is what we are supposed to do. Okay, so with that we have defined, received the task item. Now what's next? Now we'll change these items also. Okay, so task.status is going to be task.status. Okay, and mark as done. I'll leave it like that. We'll come back to it. Task description is going to be task.description. Okay, and okay, so we got most of the items right. So it says study React.js as the title. Progress is going to be to do. Progress status is going to be to do, and this is the description part. Okay, all of that is done. Okay, so we kind of drill down, prop drill down, but if you see, now we are using the sample to do task data. Okay, so what we'll do next is let's fetch the data from the backend. Okay, so how to fetch data? So for fetching data, I'll write a function here, right? So we did create a to do, right? So similarly, I'll write a function called fetch a to do. Okay, fetch a to do, no, fetch all to dos. Okay, so I'll copy this function as it is, and I'll call it fetch all to dos. Okay, so for fetching all to dos, what is the function? It is this one. No, it is this one. So it says, right, get all tasks. So it is going to be http localhost 8080 API tasks. Okay, so this is the default one. I don't want to give this extra parameter saying get like 10 items and then do offset all of that. Okay, I'll just get this much only. So I'll just say this, which is fine already. And then the method is get type. So you see the method is get. Okay, so I'll change it here to get, and content type is going to be JSON only. Okay, and then there is no body, so get doesn't have a body, so I'll remove this. Okay, so in this fetch I should be getting everything. Okay, and then what to do then? Then. Okay, so this fetch is of a type promise, which will give you a then. Okay, and in then it will give me the response data. Okay, okay, I am kind of skeptical about this syntax. Let's see. Okay, so it gives us the response data. Let me just print it first. Okay, console.log, and I will print response data. Okay, fine. So now this function I haven't called it. I have just declared it. I haven't called it yet. So let me call it. So in my use effect, right? So similarly, there is one more use effect syntax which executes as soon as you load the page. Okay, so I'll call this, and in here I can just put comma and then empty dependencies. Okay, so as I mentioned yesterday, this is the dependency list. Okay, so if I leave it empty, it means that it will load. It will be called, this use effect hook will be called whenever you load the page for the first time. Okay, so I'll save this, and let me open my developer console and go to the console section. Okay, I'll close this and let me refresh the page. Fail to fetch. Okay, error connection refuse. I think my backend is not running. Let me start that. Run as Spring Boot app. Okay, it started. Let me go back. Clear this. Clear. Oh, clear this and refresh. Okay, and you see it got the response. Fine. And why is this showing course? Okay, ignore that part. API task, you got okay. And where is the response? Okay, so I should do response.data, I guess. Where is it? Body. Is it response.body? I have no idea. Let me check. No. Okay, let me see. How to get the response as JSON. Okay, so what are they saying? Oh, it's just response.json, not response.body. Okay, fine. So let me do that. Response.json. Okay, if I call this now. Oh, that is also going to be a promise. So I need to do like await response.json. And I need to make this an async function. Okay, so now if I refresh, I keep clearing the wrong item. Okay, so I got my item finally. So you see it gives the content. Where is content? It gives the content and I have all of my, to-do items, whatever I wrote yesterday. Okay, so all of them are there. I 1 to 3 up to 13, all of the items are there. Okay, so this is what I wanted. Now what I'll do is, they gave a neat syntax here. Okay, so it says get the response.json and then do whatever you want with the data, right? So I'll do the same thing here. Okay, I'll get the response.json and then on the data I will do what I want next. Okay, so what I'll do next is I will set the data.content. Okay, whatever is there in the data.content, I will set it to my state so that I can use it elsewhere. Fine. So for setting the state, I need to first of all have a state, right? So I'll create a new state here called all to-dos. Okay, comma set all to-dos. Okay, equals to use state, and by default this will be an empty array. Okay, so now whenever I get a data, I will set all to-dos to what? Set all to-dos to data dot, and then what does data give? Content, right? Content. Okay, fine. So with this I would have set the value of all to-dos. Okay, now I'll go down. Okay, and what I'll do is all to-dos is a array of task items, right? So what I'll do here is I will create a for loop. So all to-dos dot map. Okay, map is what is going to do a for loop, and I'll say for each to do, okay, or like for each task, I will print this task item row. Okay, print this task item row. Oops, what is happening? I put it outside the bracket. Okay, so print this task item row, and for task I'll pass whatever task I got inside all to-dos. Okay, and I'll save this and let's see what is happening. Refresh. I got all of the items. See, beautifully printed all the to-dos that are there in the DB. Okay, so most of them are just buy grocery. That's why I see it so many times, and in the end you see study Spring and study React JS are there. Okay, so let me add one more item here. So if I add like hello finally, okay, and then set the priority low, okay, and then like some more text. Okay, and if I click create task, it actually created. And if I refresh and go down, so you see whatever I created now has come back from the DB. Okay, so the responsiveness and like when you create, it should refresh and show the new task. All of that we will do next. Okay, so for now this is fine. What else should we do? I think this is okay. I'll remove this sample task. Just we created it just for mocking the values, right? So I'll just remove that, and then that is fine. Okay, I can, yeah, this is fine. What I'll do next is actually give life to this mark as done and delete task buttons. Okay, and then currently they don't do anything. When if I click, nothing happens, like it doesn't get marked as done. Everything is still in the to do state, right? You see, so what I'll do is when I click on mark as done, it should be mark as done. Okay, so I'll do that. So how long is the stream running? 48 minutes, right? Okay, so we'll take a break, we'll come back, and then we'll do that. Okay, so we will give life to these two buttons, the mark as done and the delete task button. We should actually change the on click handler for these two buttons, so that we'll come back and do. Okay, so see you guys after the break, and yeah, bye. Hello. Okay. So welcome back. Just a second. Yeah, all done. Fine. So welcome back. So quick recap. What we did so far is we have fetched all the tasks from the database, the my backend database through Spring Boot, and we are displaying it here in our front end. Okay, so you can see all the tasks are beautifully listed. Fine. Okay, so what we will do next is let's give life to these two buttons, which are the mark as done and the delete task. So I'm actually clicking them now, but nothing is happening. Okay, because we haven't said it what to do. Okay, so what we'll do is let me first of all commit whatever I've done so far. Okay, so I'll commit it saying get and display all tasks in front end. Okay. Next what I'll do is I'll go to this mark as done button. Okay, so mark as done won't be mark as done always. Okay, so if a task is done, it should show like mark as to do, because by mistake you might have marked it as done, so you should show it as mark as to do. But if it is in to do state, it should show start progress or something like that, so that you can actually start progress on it, and status becomes in progress. Okay, and when a task is in progress, you can mark it as done. Okay, so that is the facing. Let me write it here, just for reference. So you move a task from to do to in progress to done. Okay, 3 states. So let me quickly check whether those 3 states are here. If I go to my types and go status, oh yeah, here it is. So it's in underscore progress. Okay, and done. Okay, let me make it like that. Fine. So these are the 3 statuses which we have. Okay, so let's handle it like that. Now what I'll do here is I'll write a small function here saying const get action button text. Okay, so I'll just call that button as action button, and I want the equals. Okay, so what I'll do here is based on what is the current status, I will set the text on the action button. Okay, the action button, I'm calling this main button as the primary action button. Okay, I'll just call it primary action button, for those who are coming later. Okay, so what I'll call it, what I'll do inside is, so if task dot status, okay, is equal to what is first one, to do. If it is equal to do, then I'll say the action button should be start progress. Okay, start progress. Progress. Okay, next, else if task dot status is equal to this one, in progress. Okay, what should I return? If something is in progress, the next thing you can do is mark it as done. Okay, so I'll copy paste this here and say mark as done. Okay, done. And then what is the third state? If something is done, then you can reopen it back. Okay, so for that I'll add one more block saying else if, okay, task.status is equal to done, then I'll say reopen. Okay, reopen. Fine, so this will be the 3 statuses. Now based on this status, we will show this text here. Okay, so I'll copy this function and I will put it here in my button. Okay, oops, in my button. Okay, I will simply do this and call this. Okay, so if I call that function here, it will see immediately it changed. So whatever is in to do state, their text will show as start progress. I don't have any other states here, I guess. Yeah, everything is to do, so it shows tasks in start progress. But if there is no status, it just shows an empty button because I haven't said what to do for empty item, right? So in actuality, there wouldn't be any task without a status because we have to set status. It's a mandatory field, so ignore that. Okay, fine. So what is next? next is when I click on this button, it should start progress, right? So if I go up, okay, if I click on the button, I'm still clicking it, it is not doing anything. It just changed the text, okay? So let's make it do something. So how do I do that? I have to write a button handling function, okay? So what I'll do is const handle primary button clicked, okay? Primary action button clicked. Okay, and to that I will say now again based on the status it should set the next item, right? So what we'll do is I will call this update status fetch. Do a fetch function, fetch call to this update status endpoint, okay, which will update the status. Okay, now what I'll do is from here I'll just take a body of a fetch function and I'll paste it here, okay, and I'll change it to patch, because if you see update function has the patch type, right? So I'll change it to patch. And what is the endpoint? The endpoint is going to be this whole thing /status. So /task /id /status. Okay, I'll copy it and I'll paste it here. Okay. Okay. Now if you see, it doesn't have any body though. If you see, there is no body. Oh, sorry. There is a body which says what is the new item. Okay. Fine. So body, I'll just say status will be something. Okay. So this is supposed to be changed. Okay. So to do change this. Okay. And method is patch. ID should come from where? ID should come from the task itself. What is the current task? It's ID. Fine. So to get that, I will change this into like this string substitution format. Okay. If it is double quote, you can't do this. What I'm going to do now. Okay. So you can't do this task.id. Okay. Fine. So you can do normal string concatenation in JavaScript as well, like put plus with the double quotes, and you can do that as well. But this is actually the more optimistic way of doing things. Okay. So you put backtick. Backtick is the one below your escape symbol. Okay. You hit that button and then write whatever string you want. And if you want to substitute something in between, you just put $ symbol and put the actual value. Okay. $ symbol and curly braces and put the actual value. So I'm going to replace this with the actual task ID of whatever task I'm in. Okay. And now you have to change this, right? This status item. So what are we going to change this to? Let me also change the name of the function, update task status. Okay. Okay. Now what I'll do here is I will send the actual new status. Okay. So before this, let me decide. Oops. So before this, let me decide what will be the new status. Okay. So if okay, I'll just set a var new status is going to be empty initially. Okay. Then I'll say if the same thing I'll copy here. Okay. And I'll say if task.status is to do, then new status will be what? From to do it goes to in progress, right? So new status will become in progress. Okay. You know the drill after this. If a task is in progress, it will go to done. Okay. And if it is done, it will go to do. Okay. So it's like cycles around this life cycle kind of thing. Okay. So sorry. So it kind of cycles around this life cycle. So from to do it goes to in progress. From in progress it goes to done. And from if it is done, it goes to back to do. Okay. Fine. So this new status is what I'm going to set here. Okay. 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 Now let's see what it will do. Oh, it will still not work because I haven't called this function yet. Okay. So update task. Yeah. So update task status, I'll simply call it inside handle primary action button clicked. Okay. So if somebody is clicking the primary action button, it's supposed to call this function. So I'll go into my primary action button, this one, and say on click call this function. Okay, so on click it is supposed to call the handle primary action button click function, and then inside that function I'm calling update task status, which will update the actual task status. Okay, so I think the code is pretty much done. Let me refresh this page and I'll start progress on this first item. Okay, if I click this, it actually started the progress, but you can't see it here yet because I have not written to refresh that item when progress starts. Okay, so I'll refresh this page. Oh, it still didn't work. So let me see what happened there. Close this. Let me go to the console. Oh, I'm in the network tab. Let me start progress. Okay, and it said an error. Okay, so you see it created an course error. So yesterday I did a big lecture on what course error is. So course error is happening again. So why course error is happening is because I remember we didn't add course to for the patch functions. So we added for get, post, put, delete options. We didn't add it for patch. So I have to add the patch verb also here. Okay, patch. Fine. So now let me restart the server. Okay, and I clear this and start progress. See, you got a 200 with the progress started, but it still says to do here because I have to refresh. Okay, so if I refresh here, you can say that this you can see that this item became in progress. Okay, so it's beautifully done. So if I mark it as done now and refresh, so it changed to done, right? I can again reopen and refresh and it will become to do. Okay, so we shouldn't be doing this manual refresh every time. We will fix that. Okay, so we'll fix that later on when we are actually improving the UX and all. Fine. So now let's with this we have given life to the start this primary action button, the start progress. Okay, what we'll do next is, let me save this, handle primary action button in for each to do or task. Okay, next we will give life to the delete task button. Okay, so for delete task, what I'll have is, I'll first of all write a function called const handle delete task. Okay, and this function will be called whenever someone clicks on the delete task button, right? This button, this is the delete task button. So I'll write here on click handle delete task. Okay, now how do I handle delete task? So same like how I wrote an update task function, I will write one more function here called delete task. Okay, delete task. I don't need the status and all. Okay, I'll close that. And if you see in our Bruno, when we deleted, when we designed our backend, we saw that delete is of the type delete. The verb is or like the method is of type delete, and then this is the endpoint. You end with task and then ID. Okay, and there will be no body. The body is empty. Okay, let's do that. So it ends with just the ID first thing, and the method is going to be delete, and it doesn't have a body. Okay, so if I do all of this, this task should delete. Okay, and I'll copy this task, and whenever someone calls handle delete task, it is supposed to call this function. Okay, so I have completed it. Now let me try to delete a task. So I'll start progress on this and refresh. Okay, so this in progress item I'm going to delete now. Okay, so if I click delete, it is supposed to delete. If I refresh, it should be gone. So you see it's gone. Okay, let me delete most of the tasks. I'll just keep like 1 or 2 items. Okay, I'll delete that. Delete. So actually the tasks are getting deleted, but there are like so many tasks, so you are not able to see. Okay, delete. Okay, fine. So now there are only 2 tasks left. Okay, I deleted everything else. Okay, this makes the page look neater as well. Okay, so I will commit this also. That was a simple item. So because we have all the backend APIs already ready, it's easier to simply call it in the front end. Okay, so delete task from front end. That is also done. Okay, so what we'll do next is, this thing is not refreshing whenever we do an action, right? So let's fix that first. Okay, so Let me go to app.tsx. Okay, so there is this fetch all to-dos function, right? So this function is what is actually fetching all the to-dos and injecting into this, this front end area, right? So I'll call this function whenever we do a action. Okay, so this is still not very optimized, but this is like the most basic thing we can do to make UI updates whenever something happens. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to call this fetch all to do's inside this. Okay, so I want to do something like somebody did update task. Where is it? Update task status. Okay, so after update task happens, I want to call fetch all to do's, so that the new to do's, so that the to do's with the updated task status will come in the front end, right? So I do not have access to that fetch all task in here, right? Currently I do not have. So what we do usually is we prop drill that also. Okay, so prop drilling is like you send it here. So where is it? So in the task item row, for each task item row, I'll also send this fetch all to do's as a function. Okay, I'll send it here. It's showing error because I have to define it here. Okay, task comma fetch all to do's, and then I should say fetch all to do's is a what function. How do I say that? Like this? Okay, fine. So I have defined fetch all to do's as a function. Now fetch all to do's, what I have to do is whenever someone clicks on, let's say, update or delete, right? So I have here handle primary action button clicked. So once someone clicks update task status, I will update it, and actually after that only I have to delete it. So what I have to do here is in the update task, right, I have to actually wait for the update task to complete. So what I'll do is I'll do an await here. So any function call, if you're awaiting, then you should make the function itself async function. Okay, so I will make this update task. Okay, and what I'll do here is I will wait till that update task is complete, then I will call fetch all to do's. Okay, so you see this is also erroring out because this function is not async. So I'll make this function async. Oops, async. Okay, so now essentially what we are doing is when somebody clicks the primary action button, you wait till update task happens and then call fetch all to do's. Okay, so if at all some error happens here, or like if some success happens, any action happens, we wait till update task happens and then we fetch all the new to do's. Okay, so inside update task status, what I'm saying is the only await that happens is we wait for the fetch call to execute. Okay, so these are all synchronous. So asynchronous, right? So all of these setting the variables and things like that are synchronous. So we need not specifically wait for those actions to happen, but this fetch call, right, this you have to wait for it because this call is going to a backend server, and then on the backend server something might happen and then it fetches the response. All of that happens, right? So for that you need to wait for it. So this is actually an asynchronous call which we are actually waiting and we are making it a synchronous call. Okay, fine. So this should work now already. Okay, so now if I go back here and if I start progress, as soon as I click it, see, it immediately changes, it updates the state here. Okay, so if I mark as done, it changes. So you see, every time I click, it automatically changes the state. Okay, so this is very beautiful. So I need not click on refresh anymore, so this automatically changes the thing. Okay, so that is done. Now similarly, when I delete a task also, I want the same functionality behavior to happen. Okay, so I'll copy this and I'll paste here. So when I delete also, it should refresh all the tasks by calling the fetch all task. So I should await a delete operation, and inside delete also I should await for this fetch operation. Okay, and I'll call this, hey, why didn't this error out? Okay, so this should also be an async function. Okay, anytime you put await inside a function, it should be an async function. Okay, and I have a syntax, spelling error here. Okay, so await, and this should become async. Okay, fine. So if I refresh, I'll just add a dummy task here, create task. Okay, create task I haven't added the refresh yet, so it's simply like that. So refresh, and you see the ISDSD, the random garbage text is coming here. I'll delete it, and you see it immediately disappeared from the thing, right? Because as soon as I delete, the page refreshed, or like that component refreshed. Okay, that's the beauty of React. Okay, so we have made a refresh happen for each action of the task itself. Okay, so let me save this. Refetch task details for every action on the task. Okay. One more thing which we need to kind of concentrate here is in React.js, each item, right, inside a mapping function, it should have a serial ID or like a key. Why that is because when there are multiple items in the DOM and it changes or something, JavaScript should know what all changed, right? Currently it is not unable to realize it. So if I open even the error console, it will say that, see, each child in a key, list should have a unique key prop. So I haven't done that. I haven't added this key prop, right? This key prop is not added, so it is showing that error. So I have to add that here. Key equals, I'll just say task dot id. I'll use the id of the task as the key, and this is failing because it doesn't understand that task is a type of the task detail. Okay, so how I define that is I have to go to all to dos, right? And here I have to say it's an array of task DTO. Was it task DTO? What was it? Let me just check it quickly. Yeah, task DTO. So is it not coming here? Task DTO. It's not coming. So I think you can't set it here. Yeah, I think you can't set it here. There's a way to set it here. Nope. Okay, let me see how to do that. How to set the array as an array of task DTO. Oh, it's here. You have to define the type here. Okay, so let me define that. And let me import task DTO. Okay, fine. So now this error should be gone below. Yeah, you see the error is gone. Okay, so now it knows that the ID is this. And if I clear this and if I refresh, you see that error is also gone. So what error now you are seeing is something from ant.d. The initial error of that the ID each row should have its own key, that error is gone. Okay, so this is a mandatory thing. Okay, so I'll commit this setting for each task row. Okay, that was that. Next, what we will do is when we create a task also, I need to kind of make it look like something happened. Okay, for that what I'll do is fetch all to do's, not this. So create a to do, right? So I think create a to do I am calling directly. Yeah, on click I am calling create a to do. Instead what I'll do is I'll create a new function called const handle create a to do. Okay, and inside that I will call create a to do function. Okay, and whenever someone clicks that button, I'll make them call this function instead. Okay, so now inside this function I can write one more line saying fetch all to dos. Okay, and for creator to do, I need to wait till the creation happens. So before creating, if I fetch all, then the new to do won't appear, right? Okay, so here I'll make this an async function, and here I will wait till the to do creation happens, and this should also be an async function. Okay, Okay, now still if I type something, okay, if I type something, it will create it immediately, and you see it refreshes also. But you see it, you can keep clicking create. This thing looks kind of ugly again, because when you create something, let me delete this unwanted stuff. Okay, so when you create something, as soon as you create, this field should get reset, right? Otherwise it looks kind of weird. So for that, what I'll do is, after this, I will wait till you fetch all the to-dos. Okay, I'll make this an async function, and I will wait for this fetch. Okay. Okay, so after you fetch all the to-dos, I will or actually I don't need to wait for fetching all the to-dos. So after this, I will do a dot then. Okay, so dot then. So as soon as the to-dos are created, I'll call an empty function, and inside this I'll set task title as empty. Okay, and set task description as empty. Okay, and set task priority as to do. Oops, no, low. Okay, I think it's capital low, isn't it? Yeah, capital low. Okay, so by doing this, as soon as a create to do happens, then this happens. So why I put this in the then is because if if I write this block outside the creator to do, if some error happens when you are creating a to do, then this regardless of that, this fields will get reset. So if an error happens, I shouldn't let this fields to go reset, right? Because then all the data that I wrote, like maybe I wrote like big content here, like do this, do that, study today, tomorrow, something. I wrote a lot of lines here, and then I click on create task, but then the creation of the task failed. Then I shouldn't clear these fields, right? So that is why I put it in the then function. Okay, so if create to do fails, then these things won't be called. Okay, that was a small error handling there, and let me run this now. Create a task. Yeah, you see it immediately resets, so I can immediately add new items. Create task, you see. Fine, so I'll delete this task again, and let me save this. Neater create task handling. Okay, so that is that. Now what is next? So I think pretty much we finished most of the front end items. We might want to do some more optimization or things like that. Okay, other than that, I don't see anything else to do here. Okay, so let's do some optimization. Okay, so every time you have like a backend API or something, right? Like this localhost 8080, that is your backend API. You shouldn't be hard coding these values into your front-end server. Okay, because what happens is tomorrow you might deploy your backend somewhere else, because we even have plans, right, to deploy the front-end and backend into the cloud, right? When I deploy it in the cloud, if you put localhost 8080, then it will simply fail, right? Because on cloud it's not running on localhost, it's running in a cloud environment, right? So we have to always keep this kind of constant URLs or like configuration parameters into property files. Okay, so let's move this to a property file now. If I go here, there should be a .env. No, it's not there. Okay, so inside the front end folder, click new file, create a new file and call it .env. Okay, .env. This becomes your environment file for the front end file. Okay, front end project. Okay, so so any property inside Vite.js, this is specific only to Vite.js. Okay, you are supposed to prefix it with Vite underscore. Okay, and I'll call this property as Vite underscore backend server root. Okay, which is like the root URL of the backend server. Fine, and what I'll say here is it is for now HTTP localhost 8080. Okay, I'll copy paste this. Okay, so I have set this, and now I have to replace it, this 8080 wherever it is, I mean localhost 8080 wherever it is there, I have to replace it with that. Okay, so for that I will create a const here, const, no, I'll create a utility class. Okay, so I will create a utility function actually. Inside src I'll create a new file called util.js. okay, and in here I'll create a function const get backend, or I'll just define it like this: backend root equals import dot meta dot env. Hey, where is that? Import dot env, is it? Okay, let me see it inside here. Import dot meta dot, oh, it's coming here, env dot it's going to be this one. Where is it? Wheat backend server root. Yeah, so why is this not coming there is the question now. Okay, it does work. Let's see. So I'll do export const backend root equals to import.meta.env.backend server root. Okay, I'll actually call this file as constants.js. If you have any other constants also, you will just write it there. Okay, constants.js. okay, now I'll go back, I'll close this in my app.txs. I'll just say, you remember I said how you can use backtick to do string manipulation. Okay, so first I'll show normal thing just so you guys understand what I'm doing. Okay, I'll do first of all constants. Oops, why is that not working? Okay, constants dot this value, right, backend root plus this. Okay, and I have to import this now. It's because I can actually import this directly. Okay, if I control space, it's not coming. Then I have to import it like this: import backend root from okay, Frontend src constants. So where is this file? Src constants, right? Okay, for some reason it's not picking that up. So how do I write a export const? Okay, let me see. I wrote this inside constants.js. How do I use it elsewhere in app.tsx? This is what I did: import backend root. Then why is that not working? Okay, they're simply saying do this, but that's not working, right? It's even redirecting. If I control click, it's going to that file even, but it's not working. So what is it saying? It says implicitly has any type. What? Oh, maybe because it's defined as a JS file. So let me change it into a TS file. Okay, TS. Now what? Oops. it's coming. Why? Hey, okay, now it's coming. Fine. So we got backend root. Okay, so what I was going to show here is backend root. Now I did like a normal string concatenation here. So I got the backend root URL and then did plus and then stitched it with the rest of the thing. But what I was saying initially with the string, I think it's called string. I forgot its name. Wait, let me check that. Okay, what string substitution, I think. What is this kind of variable usage called in JS? Oh, it's called template literal. Okay, it's called as template literal or template string. Okay, so this is what I was trying to do. Fine, so you can use this as well with backticks and get your stuff ready. So let me copy this and use it everywhere else. Where else? Here also I have it, right? So I'll use this and I have to change this into backticks. Okay, anywhere else? Localhost, not here. Let me go to our component task item row. Okay, in here also I have to do that. Okay, I have 2 hits both the places. I will use dollar backend root. Oops, backend root, and let me import it. Okay, and here also. Okay, so now everything should work as it is. Oh, it didn't. So I think it was unable to figure out what backend root is. Let me see what the error is. Console. Unexpected token doc type is not valid JSON. So I think it tried to call something else. Let me see the network panel, refresh. Okay, so tasks, when I try, let me expand this page. Yeah, it went into localhost 5173. So it became undefined. So backend URL didn't get a value. That is the problem. Okay, so why that is, I expected that to happen. If I go to constants, okay, this syntax doesn't work in JS files. Okay, so let me do that. This syntax doesn't, this doesn't load the env variable for VJS inside the TS file. How to? Okay, that's a lot of. Hey. Huh? Inside a project root, make sure you have something like .env or .env development. Yeah, so then I put backend underscore wheat underscore backend underscore server root. That's what I did, right? Wheat underscore backend underscore server root. Where is my env file? Right? It's localhost 8080. Okay. Then they're saying add a wheat env.d.ts file. What? Is this mandatory? I have never done this. I usually work with JS, wheat JS, not wheat TS. So I never face this. So what they're saying is under src add this file. Okay, let me add it then. Okay, and then they're saying do this. Okay, let me do this. And then they're saying this tells TypeScript that import is a string and it exists. So use it in your code. Now you can safely use it anywhere inside this and this. Okay, import meta.env.backend server. Just making sure that is what I wrote. Where is my constants file? Oh, disappeared. Okay. Let me refresh and see. Nope, nothing happened. So let me see if it was because I didn't restart. Let me see. stop the server, restart it, refresh. No, that did nothing. Okay. The in file should be inside project root, not inside src. Okay, I made sure that also. So it's inside it's okay. This is the problem. This should be inside the project root. Okay, if I move it here, it should work. Oh yes, it immediately came also. Okay, so I think again this vtnv.ds is not needed. I think let me comment it out. Oops, let me cut it and save, refresh. See, it works. So that file is not needed. Let me delete it. Okay, and refresh. Yeah, it works fine. So this should be enough. Okay, let me just make sure nowhere else localhost is there. Localhost 8080. Okay, especially in front end. Yeah, in front end it's not there. All of these other hits are from Bruno. Okay, so let me commit this as well. Parameterize the wheat backend root URL, not wheat backend. Okay, Spring backend. Okay, fine. Let me save it. Push. Okay, commit it. Okay, with that is also done. And fine. Now we are pretty much ready to push this to our what do you say, cloud. Okay, so our whole front end part is kind of done. Okay, unless you guys want to see something else, just let me know. Okay, so we will stop this here. Yeah, we can make this more neat or things like that later on, but for now we'll stop this here. Let me just do one more quick test, and I'll set priority as high. Tested, create task. Yeah, okay, my task came here. Fine. Okay, so I'll stop this here. Tomorrow we will see how we can containerize this. Okay, first of all we'll use Docker to containerize this application, both the backend and the front end. That we'll do tomorrow. And then the next part we'll see how we can deploy this application in the cloud. Okay, so that you can show off your creation to the world. Okay, fine then. If you guys have any questions, just post it in the chat or in the comment comment of the video. For tomorrow's stream, just subscribe and hit the bell icon. I will schedule the stream sometime, maybe tomorrow early hours, and you will get the notification for it. Okay, so if you like this type of tutorials, just like and share, like and subscribe. Okay, fine. So thank you. I will just push all of this to GitHub and do some more housekeeping work. Oops, you guys can either leave or stay and watch. Okay. Okay. So I don't see any more questions in the chat. So we'll end the stream here. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining and watching. See you guys in the next one. Okay. Bye.